Nadie se va de su hogar, hasta que su hogar deja de ser un lugar seguro. Pero hay quienes los llaman animales. ¿Animales? Personas que cruzan desiertos, mares, fronteras, buscando sobrevivir, buscando una vida que aquí damos por sentada. Y sin embargo, se dice que son una invasión extranjera, que vienen de cárceles, de manicomios, de bandas criminales. ¿Y los niños que cruzan con lo opuesto? ¿Y las madres que cargan a sus hijos mientras son perseguidas por la violencia? ¿Ellos también son una amenaza? Se habla de ellos como si fueran bombas, como si caminar con la bandera de su país fuera una declaración de guerra.
The agitators are throwing firebombs. You saw the cars that were burning, mobbing police officers and ICE officers.
Pero no lo es. Es un recuerdo de lo que tuvieron que dejar atrás. Se les acusa de todo, de quemar ciudades, de destruir naciones, de lanzar piedras, de romper aceras, como si su único objetivo fuera sembrar el caos. Pero no se dice que muchos son víctimas del racismo, del abandono, de un sistema que los rechaza antes de conocerlos. No se dice que buscan empleo, que limpian nuestras calles, cultivan nuestros alimentos, construyen nuestros edificios, que trabajan jornadas dobles por sueldos mínimos, y aún así, sonríen. Sí, hay crimen, sí, hay violencia, pero eso no define a millones de personas. ¿Y sabes qué sí hay también? Esperanza, fuerza, valor. Se les culpa de todo, pero cuando un país se rompe, no es por quienes llegan, es por quienes odian. Porque cuando un líder llama invasores a los que escapan del infierno, ese líder no está protegiendo a su nación. Está sembrando miedo, dividiendo, deshumanizando, y eso es lo más peligroso de todo. Los migrantes no son una amenaza, son la prueba más poderosa de lo que el ser humano es capaz de soportar, y aún así seguir caminando. Si después de todo esto, aún los llamas animales, quizás el problema no está en ellos, está en ti. No olvides suscribirte y compartir este video. Y déjanos tu opinión en la caja de comentarios. Tu voz también importa.
And before going further, I want to say a few words about the situation in Los Ángeles, California. Have you heard of the place? Where I've deployed thousands of National Guard troops and hundreds of Marines to protect federal law enforcement from the attacks of a vicious and violent mob. And some of the radical left, they say, oh, that's not nice. Well, if we didn't do it, there wouldn't be a Los Angeles. It'd be burning today, just like their houses were burning a number of months ago. Generations of Army heroes did not shed their blood on distant shores only to watch our country be destroyed by invasion and third world lawlessness here at home, like is happening in California. As Commander-in-Chief, I will not let that happen. It's never going to happen. What you're witnessing in California is a full-blown assault on peace, on public order, and on national sovereignty carried out by rioters bearing foreign flags with the aim of continuing a foreign invasion of our country. We're not going to let that happen. Remember, millions of people were allowed to come into our country totally unchecked and unvetted by stupid people or radical left people or sick people. But regardless, open border policy, the dumbest policy yet. I would say even dumber than men playing in women's sports, transgender for everyone. Even dumber than that. They're hurling bricks and cinder blocks at law enforcement. Did you see they're breaking up the sidewalks and the curbs, breaking it up with big, strong hammers? These guys are professionals. These are not amateurs. They're breaking it up because they took the bricks away from them. They came in with bricks, red bricks, that they could throw at our military and at the police in LA, who are very good, but they weren't aggressive like our soldiers. Our soldiers really were aggressive, but they all worked together. But they came in with bricks, they were taken away, and they had hammers. Oh, wow, how did that happen? And they're pounding the sidewalk. I said, what the hell is he doing? And he's breaking it up and making it into concrete bombs in a way, and they're dropping them on our military. They're throwing them at our military. Pretty good arms they had, too. Hits guys right in the face, big chunk of concrete, worse than a brick. They're taking them up to the bridges, and they're dropping them in the cars that are going by. These are animals. But they proudly carry the flags of other countries, but they don't carry the American flag. They only burn it. Did you see a lot of the flags being burned? They weren't being burned by people from our country or from people that love our country. People that burn the American flag should go to jail for 1 year. That's what they should be doing. 1 year. And we'll see if we can get that done. We're going to try and get that done. We're working with some of your senators. I know Senator Josh Hawley is very much involved. And I know the two senators from here. I think are you guys in favor of it? Boy, would this be a bad time for them to say no. I got you. I got those 2 votes. The agitators are throwing firebombs, Molotov cocktails, lighting vehicles ablaze. You saw all the cars that were burning, mobbing police officers and ICE officers who are the toughest people you'll ever meet, and they love our country, and they're getting really they want to stomp on them, but they're too tough. They don't allow it. And attempting to infiltrate and occupy federal buildings wearing armor and face shields. The best money can buy, somebody's financing it. We're going to find out through Pam Bondi and Department of Justice who it is. They're already on it. Who's financing all this equipment? Very professional. Under the Trump administration, this anarchy will not stand. We will not allow federal agents to be attacked, and we will not allow an American city to be invaded and conquered by a foreign enemy. And that's what they are. A lot of those people were let in here by the Biden administration. They just poured right in. They came from prisons. They came from jails from all over the world. They came from mental institutions. They were the leaders of gangs. They were drug lords allowed to come into our country. Their countries threw them out. Their countries would bus them or drive them right to our border and say, go in there. You ever come back, we're going to kill you. And we got them, and we're getting them out of here. I want to applaud the courage and the strength of the incredible troops who are right now standing guard to protect federal property and personnel and uphold the supremacy of federal law. That's what they're doing. They're protecting our ICE agents. They're protecting the police in Los Angeles. The head of the police in Los Angeles, a good man, I hear a good man, but he was actually saying we really did need this help. It had gotten away from them. It had long gotten away. And we gave it to them. Not only are these service members defending the honest citizens of California, they're also defending our republic itself. And they are heroes. They're in there, they're heroes. They're fighting for us. They're stopping an invasion just like you'd stop an invasion. The big difference is most of the time when you stop an invasion, they're wearing a uniform. In many ways, it's tougher when they're not wearing a uniform because you don't know exactly who they are. In Los Angeles, the governor of California, the mayor of Los Angeles, they're incompetent, and they paid troublemakers, agitators, and insurrectionists. They're engaged in this willful attempt to nullify federal law and aid the occupation of the city by criminal invaders. That's what it is. They're invaders, no different. Their position is that the rioting will not stop unless ICE withdraws from Los Angeles and ceases the enforcement of federal immigration law. In other words, they came in here illegally. Many of them came out of prisons and jails, the most heinous people. They came from all over the world. They came from the Congo in Africa. They came from Asia. They came from the prisons of these places. They were put into the United States and allowed to stay here because we had a grossly unfit president who listened to whoever was operating the auto pen. And they allowed these people to stay. And by the way, I've known this guy for a long time. He was never the sharpest bulb. But you know what he was? He wasn't a radical left lunatic. He never dreamt about open borders. He never said that when he was of sound mind, which actually was a very long time ago. So sad what they've done to our country. I will say that without question, however, you're seeing the financial numbers. We've now got the hottest country anywhere in the world. And 6 months ago, it was the coldest country. We're being laughed at all over the world. I was in Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE. We brought back $5.1 trillion into our country, and all three leaders, they're great leaders, all three said, you know, you are presiding over the hottest country anywhere in the world. And they said the exact same thing. They said 6 months ago, it was the coldest country. I'll tell you, it changed on a date. You know what November 5th was? It was the election of a president that loves you. And that's when it all changed. That's when it all changed. Within the span of a few decades, Los Angeles has gone from being one of the cleanest, safest, and most beautiful cities on earth to being a trash heap with entire neighborhoods under the control of transnational gangs and criminal networks. It's horrible what's happened so quickly. As the entire world can now see, uncontrolled migration leads to chaos, dysfunction, and disorder. And you know what? They have it in Europe, too. It's happening in many of the countries of Europe. They don't like it when I say it, but I'll say it loudly and clearly. They better do something before it's too late. Very simply, we will liberate Los Angeles and make it free, clean, and safe again. It's happening very quickly. The one big, beautiful bill, you've heard about it. We call it the one big, I was on one of the television shows, I think Deface the Nation. Ladies and gentlemen, Deface the Nation. It's actually called Face the Nation for those of you that are smart enough not to know, because you're better off not knowing. But I was on one of the shows, and I said, we got to get a great bill. They said, would you like it to be one bill, or would you like it to be 7 or 8 bills? They said, I want one big, beautiful bill. And the Republican Party liked that statement. They call it one big, beautiful bill. So that's good. And that's what it is. It's great. And it's currently before Congress. It provides all necessary funding for ICE, for Border Patrol, and for the Department of Defense. And I told you at a level that we've never had before, over $1 trillion. We better get that bill approved. Otherwise, your helicopters and your planes and your equipment's going to start to look a little bit old, General. You better push your favorite congressman. You better push these 2 senators. I think they're in good shape, however. But we got to get it approved. And those congressmen by you are all 100%. I don't even have to talk to them. They've been so great. So I want to sign this into law immediately. And with the signing, so many great things will happen to our country. And let me tell you, if we didn't do this, Los Angeles would burn. It would be burning to the ground right now, just like the houses burned to the ground just a few months ago. And the only flag that will wave triumphant over the streets of Los Angeles is the American flag. So help me God. The American flag is the one that's going to wave triumphantly over the streets.